because
No.
the sequences, because like there's also
I love like his unveiling comes with his arrogance too a lot of the time, right? Where he's just like, "Look at me," that kind of thing. You know?
and the way that Whale has to shoot it so that there's a sense of like strength and power to it, like the way that you understand how it moves. Like they had to craft it not just as he shoots a special effect. It's like his camera work has to mimic the special effect, because there's scenes where he's invisible and he's doing things.
Yep.
And the camera has to like pan and dolly through a room as he's doing things.
Right.
And it basically, and I mean, we take it for granted now because now we
You
see
do fucking everything with a computer.
it's kind of a visual cliche. I mean, very famously, they did it when in the Harry Potter Prisoner of Azkaban. Remember when he puts on the invisibility cloak and he like walks through the snow with the snow prints and stuff?
Right. Yep.
That has to be a fucking like a reference to
Straight
this.
from this. Oh,
yeah.
100%.
Because now we're used to seeing, oh yeah, someone's invisible, but the space is reacting like there's a physical object there, even though we can't see it.
Yeah.
But he had to invent camera moves in order to accomplish that. And I loved, because I was watching the early stuff where it's just kind of like, there's the bar, there's just kind of like guys being dudes, they're playing darts, they got jokes, they got pints, they got like an old-timey dude playing the piano in the corner like a jukebox.
Yeah.
And everyone's kind of gathered around this winter cold for the fire, and there's really big pans through this, establishing the space, and then they also replicate those camera moves as they move through the house that the doctors are all in with Gloria Stewart.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's more camera moves in this than I've seen in a lot of the older Universal monster films.
Sure.
And I was pretty impressed, and I was trying to figure out like why the camera had to move so much when I first watched this film. And then
There's
I realized
a lot of the other stuff more just like sets, like stationary sets.
a little bit,
so.
and there's definitely some fancy camera moves because these were expensive productions. But there's a lot of like, there's even handheld moves and stuff.
Yeah,
in a lot of aesthetic differences to this, moving through like these gothic sets that they have and stuff like that. But I realized it was because in one of the early scenes, you can see Gloria Stewart moves away from the conversation between the two doctors when they're talking about how like the Invisible Man's gone missing, Jack's gone missing, and she moves into another room, and then the one guy, Kemp, follows her, and it follows her, and the camera moves and pans with her as she moves rooms, and then it follows and pans with him as he moves rooms, and it also dollies around a little bit, and it tracks their physical movements as they walk through a room.
Right.
And then those camera shots are replicated with no one in the frame, because we're supposed to know that there's a physical invisible man walking through those rooms. So then all of a sudden your mind goes, oh, yeah, so the shot that he's doing is the same vocabulary as if he's shooting a shot of people moving through a room. But we're supposed to understand that there's an invisible man moving through this room, so you're looking at it. So it's a really actually simple idea, but it works geniusly. And then you add the wire work, and then you have what feels like a real person, even though there's nothing in the fucking room.
That's something too I've noticed, like it doesn't ever feel ghostly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's something like I think it's because they focus the way that things move. Like there's a great shot, love this fucking shot, when he smokes the cigarette.
That's one of my favorites.
Oh my god, that's unbelievable.
The puff.
Right, there's something human more so about that. Yeah, right. Like how do you do that? That's amazing. I couldn't believe how just blown away I was by the craft of this film. Like it's I mean, granted it's my like maybe second or third 30s movie I've ever fucking seen.
Right.
Because I'm just such a noob. But I was blown away by the technicalities of this film.
Yeah. So
blown away.
So it has that going for it. And also, what's interesting about this is that it is horror, but it also has kind of like a slapstick comedy vibe to it.
Yeah. Which there is a bit of a dark humor to it.
Which I really like, mostly because it makes the violence always shocking. Mm-hmm. Because, again, the guy starts out and...
It almost seems like he's just kind of messing with people at first. Like, it's like, I'll steal your bike. Fuck your hat. You know, he does push a guy down the stairs, but, you know, it's not quite pushing him off a cliff.
He also pushes a baby carriage over.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, this guy's a dick.
A little darker. But it definitely is like... he has like maniacal laughter, and he's like, I'll show you what I am.
Yeah,
kind
for
of
sure.
Like,
he does. He feels like a monster at certain moments, for sure. Well, like a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde kind of thing. Because it's like, granted, he has a little less Dr. Jekyll but a little more Mr. Hyde for sure. But that's what it feels like.
But he's also like cracking jokes. Like when he steals that bike, he goes, "I'm afraid I need this bicycle," and he just starts riding away on it. And then everyone's
He's so well spoken too.
and everyone starts taking off after it. And he was like, "Fine, take it back," and it's like throwing it back at them and shit like this.
Yeah, it really is funny. It does get into a slapstick kind of thing.
And a very physical comedy aspect, because like even when like what's really funny is the lady who keeps like screaming every time she sees like another glimpse of him, and like jumping on the table and screaming. Like at one point when the cop is sitting in the room and he's like, "All of you are crazy. You're telling me there was an invisible man here?
Yeah.
What the fuck? I'm gonna write all of you up for wasting my fucking time." And then he's such an egomaniac.
Yeah,
Because
he
can't-
got away with it.
Yeah, and,
You know,
and instead he's like, "No, I gotta mess with the cop too." So the cop goes to put the ink in the paper to write down that these people are fucking crazy, and the ink moves. And then the ink moves, and then he throws the ink at the guy, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, he's here!"
I do think
and
that
they
there's,
all
like-
run out of the bar. This huge wide shot of like 100 people running out of a bar, which is so funny. And then the
Yeah.
lady on the table fucking screaming.
Yeah, and there is that thing where it's like, I think it just shows his character. It's this thing where he needs the
fame.
He's
The
right.
fame.
He wants you to know he's the Invisible Man. You
Yes.
know, like he's like, "No, I'm here. Don't say it was these townsfolk. I'm gonna."